Mm-hmm. Right, so we're going to start in child's pose. So everybody feeling okay this morning?
Yes, thank you.
Good. As good as we'll ever be, is it? Yeah, that's the way I feel sometimes. Right, so come down to your mat. I'm just going to mute everybody. And come down to the mat into child's pose. So if you take your knees wide and have your toes just touching, and then let your arms just slide out, so really melt down into the mat. So have that feeling that you're trying to send your heart down towards the mat. So take a few breaths here, and each time you exhale, just let go, release a little bit further. And if it doesn't feel quite right when you first come into it, then just put a block under your forehead. Don't force yourself to come into child's. It takes a bit of movement and a little bit of wiggling. So, you can try that. Just wiggle side to side, just sending your hips away, and just a bit of movement in your arms. And you will eventually just find that connection with the mat or with the block, if that's good for you. So let your head make contact with the floor or with the block. And when we're here, think about your hips as well. So we're not sending our hips up into the air. We're trying to send them away. So you're finding that length in the spine. So sending the hips down towards the heels and creating that straight line through the spine. And just take a few deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose. Just allow everything to settle. Just checking in here. How do you feel this morning? And where are you holding on? Release the forehead. Release the face, the shoulders, maybe even the jaw. Just see if you can allow yourself to sink a little bit further into the mat. Just relaxing our muscles, letting go before we start our practice. Taking these few moments with our breath, just to ease out any tensions, and also giving you the opportunity to check in, excuse me, check in with your body. Where are you feeling any tension? Which areas might not feel quite right this morning? Which ones need the special attention? So we're going to continue with our energizing yoga. So we've got some nice flowing moves, some nice strong moves as well this morning. But there's always options. So if that's not what you feel like doing, then I'll give you plenty of other options. You don't have to do it. You do what's right for you. It's your practice. So on your next inhalation, just start to bring yourself back up into an all fours position. finding that all fours. So check in with your alignment here. Have your hands really spread wide, ground them well into the mat, underneath your shoulders, and have your knees under your hips. Just have a little wiggle here. Just make sure that we're settling into this all fours position. And then take your toes into the mat. So we're keeping a bit of strength in our legs, keeping our feet active. And take a deep breath here, breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. And as you breathe, see if you can feel that full 360-degree movement around the base of the ribs. So you're sending the ribs out to the side, as well as feeling that lift in the spine and maybe even that forward movement in the ribs. So we're trying to imagine that full expansion of the bottom of the ribs, that 360. And as you're doing that, try not to tense up into your shoulders. Because sometimes when you do that breath, when you're concentrating, you automatically hunch the shoulders up towards the ears. So we're keeping this all fours form. We don't want to create any blockages around our shoulders. So let's take another deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just round through the spine, drop the head towards the mat. So you're pushing with your hands, opening up through the spine, coming into cat pose. Breathe in. Breathe out, tilt the hips. Lead with the chin and the chest. Come into cow. So do 2 more of these, breathing in, breathing out to move. So you might have just caught the tail end of what I was saying with Jill. This is why I teach it this way. We move on the out breath. So breathe in, breathe out. And it all comes down to a conversation that I had with my teacher. I did my diploma, and she was saying about the shift of the internal organs when you're taking a deep breath in, and how you can affect your lower back as you breathe in, because you're shifting the diaphragm, shifting the tummy, and potentially compromising the muscles at the lower, inside, obviously, the lower back. So do that movement on an out breath. So once you've done 3 cat-cows, bring yourself back to all fours. I mean, ultimately, you do your cat-cow the way that feels right for you. And a lot of teachers teach breathe in to cat, breathe out to cow, or even the other way around. So it's all about you. I mean, I think it works for me to move on the exhalation. So, but I'm not going to force you to do it. You do it the way that you want to. So coming back to your all fours, take a breath in. And as you breathe out, extend your right leg out behind you. So really press the toes into the mat, extend through the back of that leg, as if you're trying to get your right heel down into the mat. And then breathe in, breathe out, draw that right knee all the way up to your right elbow. So do that again, breathing in, extend it all the way back. Really press the toes into the mat, get that length through the back of the leg. Breathe out. bring the elbow to the knee. Once more on this side, so you're trying to keep your back really flat as you're doing this as well. You're keeping that all fours position. You're balancing that cup of tea on your back. And then draw the knee up to your elbow without rocking to the side. Take the knee back down to the mat, back into all fours. Toes are into the mat. Let's do the other side. Breathe in. Send the left leg away. Press those toes into the mat. Get that length through the hamstring. Breathing out. Draw the knee up to the left elbow without rocking over to the right. So your core is engaged here. Breathing in and extend. Breathing out. Knee to elbow. Once more. Extend. And then knee to elbow. And then come back to all fours. So let's just move a little bit towards the back of the mat. Come into a kneeling position. We're going to do our kneeling salute, a nice wake-up routine before we really get into the practice. So taking a breath in, reach your hands up and overhead and turn the palms to face forward. Breathe out, let the hands float down towards the mat. So find that length through the spine. Breathing in, coming up to all fours. So position yourself into that all fours position. Might need to bring your knees in a little bit closer. Take a breath in. Breathe out, round through the spine. Breathe in. Breathe out. Cow pose. Breathe in. Breathe out, round the spine. Or your preferred breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Cat pose. Breathe in. Breathe out. Cow. Breathe in. Come back to all fours. Breathe out. Lift your knees and your hips. Come to downward facing dog. So it's our first one. So let's have a little walk through the heels. Just easing into your down dog. And then allow the heels, excuse me, to rest towards the mat. Just take a breath here. Drop the head through the arms. Send the hips up to the ceiling. Breathing in, shifting the weight forward through plank. Breathing out, lowering the knees. Release the toes and just come to up dog or cobra, whatever is good for you. So, I'm losing my voice this morning. You leave your knees onto the mat. We're not going to do a full up dog, or if this is too much, take your hips down to the mat and squeeze the shoulders as your arms are alongside the chest in cobra. Take a breath in. Breathe out. Come back to downward facing dog. Enjoy that stretch. Breathe in. Breathe out. Drop the knees to the mat. Come back to your all fours. So taking a breath here. Flat back. Breathe out. Round the spine. Cat pose. Breathe in. Breathe out. Cow pose. Breathe in. Breathe out, round the spine. Cat pose, really push the mat away from you. Keep those toes into the mat, you're keeping those strong legs. Breathe in. Breathe out. Once more, breathe in. Round the spine. Breathe out. Cat pose. Breathe in, come back to your all fours position. And as you breathe out, just release the feet, release the hips towards the heels. Come back to swan pose. Your hands stay where they are. Take a breath in, float the hands all the way up to the ceiling. The palms are facing forward. Breathe out, turn the palms to face each other and bring them down to the heart center. Well done. So that's one round of kneeling salute, just to get us warmed up. So let's come back to an all fours position. Take your toes into the mat. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, lift your hips and walk your feet all the way towards your hands. Just let your arms rest towards the floor. Let your head drop. And then catch hold of your opposite elbows. Drop the top of the head towards the mat. And just hang here for a moment. Just letting go. Allow the whole of the spine to release. Not holding on anyway, just allowing the upper body to hang here. And then very slowly release your hands and roll back up all the way to standing. Well done. So let's stand at the top of the mat. Just checking what I'm going to get you to do. Standing up at the top of the mat, relax the shoulders. Stand up straight and tall, your feet are hip distance apart. Just feel well grounded. Take a breath in and take your weight into your left foot as you step your right leg back. So it needs to come back quite far. So separate the feet. And then taking a breath in, just breathing out, hover that right knee over the mat. So you're not coming all the way down to the mat, you're just dropping the right knee. And then taking a breath in, float your hands out in front of you. And then crossing at the elbows, you're going to encourage that left arm to come towards you. So you're using your right hand just to cross this left arm across the body, keeping the chest facing forward. Take a breath here. Just encourage that opening to the left shoulder. And then on your next inhalation, you're going to step back to the front of the mat, release the arms. Well done. Let's do the same on the other side. So get that feeling of being well grounded. Stand up straight and tall, relax the shoulders. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, step back with the left foot. So get that balance. Breathe in, breathe out, drop the left knee, just hovering above the mat. Breathe in, float the hands out in front of you. This time the right arm will go over the left elbow, and you're going to use the left arm to encourage the right arm across the body. Can you feel that opening in the right shoulder here? And strong legs as you're hovering above the mat. Take a breath in and out. And then your next inhalation, step forward to the top of the mat. Well done. I should have woken up your legs a little bit. So stand up straight and tall. Relax the shoulders. Taking a breath in, float the hands out in front of you, palms are facing. And as you breathe out, sit down into your imaginary chair. So think about this lower back here. Tuck the tailbone under. We don't want to create tension in the lower back. So as you're reaching forward with your hands, have the fingers tightly together and the thumbs pointing up to the ceiling. Take a breath in. Take your arms into a wide V. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Feel the tummy muscles engage. Breathing in. Draw the hands back. Breathing out. Wide V. Breathing in. Come back to center and come back to stand. Whew. That's a tough one, isn't it? We'll just try that one once more. It's always good to do something when it's new and try it a second time, because the second time will be better, I promise you. So breathing in, float your hands out in front of you. Breathing out, sit down into chair, tuck in the butt under. We don't want to do this. People think this is a good chair pose, but it isn't. It's too much tension on your lower back. So tuck the tailbone under. Breathing in. Breathing out. A big wide V. Breathing in. Release. Breathing out. Breathing in. Once more for luck. Breathing out. Breathe in. Come back to stand. Stand up straight and tall. Just get your breath back. Let everything relax. Taking a breath in, take your hands out wide, reach up and overhead. Exhale all the way down through the midline, down to the mat. Drop the head towards the mat. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale and slide your hands up to your shins. Really find that flat back here. So you're sending the top of the head out in front of you. Breathing out. Drop the hands towards the mat. Uttanasana. Forward fold. And then taking a breath in, just bend your knees and step your right leg back. Release the knee to the mat. So bring yourself upright. So your left hand is on your left knee. Your right toes are into the mat. Taking a breath in, float the right hand up into the air. And as you breathe out, draw it back into cactus. So squeeze the shoulder blades together. Keep your shoulders pointing forward. Breathe in, reaching up. Breathe out, reaching over towards the left. So a little side bend here. You need to engage your tummy to keep you upright. Breathe in, reaching up, breathing out, cactus pose. Keep your gaze forward. Breathe in, reaching up, breathe out, side bend. Once more, breathe in, reach up, out to cactus. Breathe in and reach. Breathe out, side bend. Breathe in, release your right hand down to the mat. And as you breathe out, float the left arm up into the air. So there's an option here. You can extend your right leg. Or if you're not feeling that this morning, keep the right knee down on the mat. Keep breathing. Breathe out, hand to the mat. Release your left leg back into plank. Just hold your plank for one breath. Check you're not hanging down through those shoulders. Keep that strong plank. And there's an option here. As you breathe, you can lift one leg. Good job I don't say lift both legs, isn't it? Just a couple of inches. Drop the foot to the mat and then lift the other leg. And then drop both knees to the mat, take them wide, sit back into child's. Just get your breath back here. And then breathe in, bring yourself back up to all fours. Realign your knees into that all fours position. Toes into the mat. Breathe out, downward facing dog. And just walk your feet all the way to your hands. Uttanasana, forward fold. Breathe in as you slide your hands up to your shins. Find that half fold, that length through the spine. Breathe out, hands to the mat. Uttanasana. Breathe in. Slowly bring yourself back up. Back where we started. Ready to do the other side. So this time we're going to step the left leg back. Is that right? Yes, and drop the knee. So the left leg should be bent. The right hand is resting on your right leg. We're going to do that same set of movements. So make sure your left toes are into the mat. Engage your tummy muscles. Find that upright spine. Relax the shoulders. Breathe in as you float your left arm up. Breathe out. Draw it into cactus. The palm is facing forward. Breathe in, reaching up. Breathe out, side bend. Breathe in, draw the hand up. Breathe out, cactus. Breathe in, reach. Breathe out, side bend. Noticing, is it any different on this side? So reaching up, cactus. Breathe in. Breathe out to the side. I'm more stable on this side than the other for some reason. Breathing in. Breathing out, release the left hand all the way to the mat and float the right hand up to the ceiling. So the option here is to extend the left leg. And find that lovely opening through the front of the chest. Reach away through the right fingertips and the left toes. Breathe in. Breathe out. Take your hands back to the mat. Step the right leg back into plank. So find that plank position. Nice strong plank. Straight line from the back of the head all the way down to the heels. So don't lift your hips. Don't sink your hips. Find that straight line. Find that opening through the shoulders. Option to lift the one leg just a few inches. Breathe out and place it back. Breathe in as you lift the other one. Breathe out, place it back. And then take your knees to the mat, take them wide. Settle down into child. Just take a nice few breaths here. Get rid of the dog. Just breathe in. And then breathing in, bring yourself back up to all fours. So we're going to try a side plank here, and there's going to be a lot of options for you to do. So don't worry if side plank isn't your favorite. So come up to all fours, taking a breath in and then breathing out as you release both of your feet into plank. So the first option for side plank is you can release your left knee to the mat, roll over onto the inside of your right foot, and then release your right hand up to the ceiling. So that's one way, taking a few breaths here. If you want a little bit stronger, then when we were in plank, we just roll over onto the sides of the feet and then we release the hand. So we're keeping both legs straight. So take a few breaths here and think about lifting your hips away from the mat so we're not sinking down. Engage your tummy. And then when you've had enough, just take your hand back to the mat, release your knees, and just sink back into child. Keep your knees close together here, and just sink. Give your body a chance to recover. It's quite strong on the shoulders when you're doing side plank, but if you keep your hips lifted, you're not putting so much pressure up onto the top part of your body. You want to send the weight down towards your feet. It does work. So take a breath in, come back to all fours. So we're just going to try that again. I'm going to give you another option this time. So this time we're going to take our left hand and we're going to place the lower arm down onto the mat. So the palm is facing down into the mat, the left elbow is under your left shoulder. So breathing out, extend the legs behind you. roll onto the side, and then reach up. So a side plank, but on your lower arms. Now this is meant to be easier, but I've got to be honest, I find planking on the elbows harder than planking on the straight arm. So you decide what's right for you. And when you've had enough, come back, release the other elbow, release the knees, sink back into child's. Just take a breath. And then come back to all fours. So we're going to do all of those on the other side. So I'm just going to turn around so I can still see you. So from our all fours position, take a breath in, breathe out, extend the legs. Come into your plank. So the first one we did, you either just roll onto the insides of the right foot and roll onto the left foot, or you can drop your right knee down. It's your choice. So I'm keeping my legs extended, reaching the hand up. Make sure your hands are stacked one on top of the other. So if you've got your right hand too far forward, it's going to put too much strain on the shoulder. So you want the weight going in a complete straight line here. And checking with those hips. We're not sinking them down, we're not lifting them up, we're keeping that straight line. And then release the knees, send the hips back, find that child. Always have this little rebound, this little reset when you do a strong pose like that. And then breathing in, come back to all fours. So let's try the lower arm. So this time the right arm goes down to the mat. Send the right elbow under the right shoulder. Release the legs. Roll onto the side. Release the left hand. Just take a few breaths here. Not my favorite. But you know what they say? The pose that you dislike the most is the one you should do the most. So I'm taking my own medicine here. So take your arm back to the mat. Release back into child's. Just take a few breaths and recover. And then inhale and bring yourself up to all fours. Just take a breath here. Breathe out, step your feet back into plank. Inhale, lift those hips. Come back to downward facing dog. Reposition the feet and drop the head through the arms. And then just bring your feet in a little bit closer. So you're making a shorter down dog. And you're going to step your right leg forward. We're going to try and keep this forward bend. So our right knee is just slightly bent at the moment. Left leg, send it into almost straight. And just have your fingertips on either side of the right leg. And then take a breath in. And as you breathe out, just start to drop the head towards the knee, starting to bring both of those legs towards straight. So it's just like a standing splits type effect. Breathe in. Breathe out. Release your hands to the mat. Have a bend in the knees so that you can do that and step the right leg back into downward facing dog. So we're going to do the same on the other side. So just bending the knees, shifting forward a little bit so that you can release the left leg, help it forward if you need to. Send the right heel down towards the mat. Left leg will be a little bit bent. Drop the nose towards the knee. And as you breathe out, see if you can straighten those legs. Just allowing the chest to come towards the leg. Forward bend. And then this time, breathe in, bending your left knee. Breathe out, step the right leg towards your left foot. So we're just going to test our little squat here and see how far we can come down to the mat without lifting our heels from the mat. And it might not be very far at all. Don't worry about that, but it's really good just to test the squat. So taking a breath in, as you breathe out, just drop your hips towards your heels, only as far as they will go without your heels lifting. So if you're in a squat like me, like this, and your hips are still quite away from the mat, then that's fine. This is as far as your body's going to go. It's as far as mine will go. The only way I can get right down is if I lift my heels. So I'm trying to work into the fronts of my legs, releasing my ankles. And women find this much harder than men. And I don't know whether it's something to do with the shoes that we've worn, high heel shoes over the years that have shortened the muscles at the front of the foot. But men seem to be able to get their heels down. Women can't so much. So taking a breath in, lift your hips all the way back up and slowly rise back up to Tadasana. Well done. Everyone okay? Good. Let's just do a little balance before we come down to the mat. So stand up straight and tall. Let's see how our balance is this morning. So let's let everything settle first of all. Give ourselves a fighting chance. Relax the shoulders. Relax the knees. You might want to stand near something that you can touch, maybe the wall or the chair. We're going to do a little balance with a twist. So as you breathe in, find your drishti, take your weight into your left foot and hug your right knee up towards your chest. Relax the shoulders. So keep that drishti. So now just take hold of the right lower leg with the left arm. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, send the right hand all the way behind you. So you might feel balanced enough to follow that hand with your gaze. opening out to the right. Just turn sideways on so you can see what I'm doing. So stand up straight and tall. Lift out of your hips, out of your shoulders. Looking at that hand. And then release. Well done. So let's try the other side. So standing up straight and tall, relax the shoulders, relax the knees, find that connection with the soles of the feet. Inhale into the right leg this time. Exhale the left leg and hug the knee towards the chest. Remember that drishti. And then this time, just keeping your right hand below the left knee. As you breathe out, send the left hand behind you. And when you feel balanced, maybe your gaze can follow that hand. Brilliant. Well done, everyone. So step out of that when you're ready. And then take your feet wide on the mat. So take them as wide as is comfortable for you. Your toes are pointing out to the corners of the mat. Take a breath in. Take your hands to your hips. And as you breathe out, just allow the upper back to come forward. So you're finding that flat back is sending the top of the head out in front of you. So really feel that you're extending from the crown of the head through the neck all the way to the spine, finding that flat back. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, release your hands, your fingertips to the mat. So reposition your feet if you want to take them a little bit wider. And you can have a bend in your knees if your hands are not reaching the mat. So make a connection with the mat. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, just allow the upper body to fold forward. So bending through the elbows, dropping the top of the head towards the mat. Find that stretch through the inner thighs. Just release. Keep breathing. With each exhalation, you might drop a little bit further. And then on your next inhalation, bring your head back into that flat back position. And as you exhale, just walk your hands around towards your right foot. And then take a breath here. And then exhale your nose, nose towards your right knee. Don't worry if you need a bend in those legs. Eventually you'll be able to straighten them. Use your breath. And then inhale and walk your hands all the way back to the center. Exhaling around to the left-hand side. Both hands are now around your left foot. Take a breath in. Breathe out. Send the nose towards the knee. Breathing in, walk all the way back to center. So bend your knees enough so that you can plant both of your palms onto the mat. And this time you're just going to bend your right knee and send the hip over towards the right. So creating even more of a stretch in the inner thigh. And holding it there. Breathing in as you come back to center. Breathing out. Sending the left knee to the side. Breathe in, come back to center. Plant your hands and then just heel toe your feet together. Have a bend in your knees. Come back to your Uttanasana. And then from this position, just gently bend your knees, release your hips down to the mat. Well done. Come down to the mat into semi-supine. Just have your arms alongside in a gentle V, palms facing up. And just gently rock through the pelvis, just easing out. Laying the whole of the spine on the mat and then lifting it away as you just gently rock through the pelvis. So now on your next inhalation, draw your knees up and over your chest. Hug them in nice and tight and have a little roll through the spine, maybe side to side, just easing out. And you can stay here, or you can catch hold of the outsides of your feet and drop your knees into your armpits, send the soles of the feet up to the ceiling. Come into happy baby. So if you're comfortably in happy baby, maybe you want to slide your first finger around and your thumbs between your first toe and not your thumb, your big toe, and your thumb is around the base of the big toe. So you've got a really good connection with your toes. And you can stay here holding on to the feet. Or if you want to try something else, first of all, check that the back of your head is resting down on the mat. So you're finding that length in the spine. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, just extend one heel up to the ceiling. Breathing in, bend the knee. Breathing out, extend the other. So if this doesn't work for you, if you can't get anywhere near that extension, you can take your hands to your ankles or just hold on to the leggings or your trousers, whatever feels good. Or you can do it with a strap, but we don't need a strap at the moment. If it's not working for you, then just keep the knees into the armpits and stay there in happy baby. And you might even want to send both heels up to the ceiling. Lovely stretch. And then draw the knees back towards the armpits. And then slowly release the feet to the mat. Take the hands out wide into a T shape. Plant the feet down on the mat, lift the hips and send them over towards the left and drop the knees over to the right. Just have a nice twist of the lower back. And your gaze can go to your left hand. And then breathing in, return your head to center, return your knees to center, lift your hips, bring them back to center. Take a breath here. And then lift your hips, send them over to the right of the mat. Drop the knees to the left as you exhale and take your gaze to the right. Just enjoying that lovely twist. Relaxing the shoulders down into the mat. Inhale your head back to center. Inhale your knees back to center and your hips. And slide your legs out on the mat. Grab hold of your blanket or your layers. And we'll just have a few minutes in Shavasana to finish. So lying out on the mat. Just have your feet slightly wider than hip distance apart and drop the toes out to the side. Your hands alongside you in a gentle V, palms facing up. And allow your thumbs to drop towards the mat. Just feel how your shoulders sink down into the mat. Focus on letting go the whole of the back body. Using the exhalation to release. Releasing from the top of the head, the forehead, the face, the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, the whole of the arms and the hands. Using that exhalation to just let go. Releasing from the back of the head, all the way down the spine, to the hips. Feeling the sacrum area sink into the mat. Releasing your legs, your knees, all the way down to your feet. Feel the heels sink a little deeper into the mat. Just take a few deep breaths here. Allowing yourself to let go. And now start to bring some movement back into your body. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. Rotating your wrists and your ankles. And then taking a deep breath in as you float your hands up and overhead. And do a full body stretch. Point from your fingers to your toes. And breathing out, just allow the arms to rest on the floor behind you. Breathe in, bend your knees, plant your feet on the floor. And breathe out as you roll onto your right hand side. Just draw your knees up a little closer to your chest. And then when you feel ready, blink your eyes open. And slowly bring yourself back up to seated. Everyone feeling okay? Well done. So let's finish with our 3 breaths together. Sitting up straight and tall. Take your hands to the fingertips to the mat, each side. Taking a breath in, reach up. Breathing out, hands to the heart center. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.